Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ever so slightly more liberal than usual tiny room. I am your I know I said we weren't going to talk about it, and then I did. I'm your co-host for the podcast, Michael, and I am joined digitally by Ben. Ben, say hello, Ben.
Hello, Ben. We're a little bit more liberal. Would you like to explain to listeners why you felt the need to explain that our country has loosened the rather rigorous Catholic necktie that it has around its neck?
Very good, Ben.
Do you want to explain that to them there?
Not particularly, Ben. I mean, we repealed the old Eighth Amendment there. We stuck it to the man. Presumably you didn't. I don't think you flew home
I postal
vote,
voted.
So.
No, I postal voted. I set up my postal vote last time I was in Dublin in
Very
Easter.
Good, Ben.
On the
very
Easter.
intelligent.
Do you know what? They're absolute, but this doesn't have anything to do with pop culture, but they're absolute tossers. You have to be in Ireland to register for a postal vote. You cannot apply for the postal vote abroad.
Yes.
It's absolute cack. Anyway, we repealed the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment was a restriction placed by the Irish government in 1984 on our constitutional right to legally sanctioned abortions, and we got rid of it altogether because at the time we had a very heavily Catholic government, and it's caused a bit of consternation, and it made us a bit draconian and archaic, and now we've all opted in a massive majority vote to repeal the Eighth. So
one of the biggest majority votes ever, Ben.
Yeah, good job us. It's a very sensitive topic, Michael. It affects a lot of people, I suppose.
I suppose it does. Not us though, with our lack of wombs.
Well, you and I, Michael, very often lack the right expertise, criteria, or experience to talk about issues, but it's never stopped us before.
Very good.
We are
very
a pair
good,
of egomaniacs.
Ben,
but that being
Benjamin.
said, well done, Ireland. Good job all round there, gang. Good job all round.
Now, Ben, you know that we usually like to keep this podcast politics free, but I'm going to have to discuss the second political issue of the week now.
Go on.
And that issue is football can go and suck an egg.
Why can football go suck an egg, Michael?
Bloody footballs. Ben, have you heard of a film called The Ant-Man and the Wasp?
The Ant-Man and the Wasp, yes.
That's not what it's called, but you've heard of it.
Yes.
Do you know the release date for that film, Ben?
I don't.
Well, in worldwide, Ben.
Yes.
It's between the 4th and the 6th of July.
Okay.
Which is 3 weeks? No.
Yeah,
that's June. No, that's June. It's 5 weeks.
Month and a bit.
A month and a bit.
5 weeks.
A month and a bit, as of the recording.
I will be back in Dublin to watch Ant-Man.
Oh, Ben. Oh, no, you won't. Here's the news.
Oh, no.
In Ireland, it's coming out on the bloody 3rd of August.
What?
The 3rd of August.
But why?
The bloody football.
Oh, the football? How is the football affecting...
Because, I don't know, the football people, they have this tournament every 4 years.
Fuckers.
Exactly. And I don't know who has made the decision, but they're basically not showing any films while the football is on.
That's a
in
load
case people don't want to go see the films and they want to watch the football.
That's a load of balls.
The bloody World Cup. Ben, why do they call it the World Cup Finals if it happens every 4 years? It's not final, is it?
No, that's categorically wrong, grammatically
also, Ben,
and linguistically speaking.
Which country do you think likes footballs more than England?
Italy.
Yes,
maybe.
Although Italy aren't in the World
They're
Cup.
not in it. They fucked it up.
They're no good.
Yeah, they're refusing to talk about it. It's very funny.
Italy are getting it on the 14th of August.
On the 14th of August?
The 14th of August, 6 weeks after the international release.
That's horseshit.
Ben, it's like the bad old days. It's like bloody The Lion King all over again.
The Lion King all over again? What happened with The Lion King?
Lion King, I think, came out in Ireland 4 or 5 months after its American release.
Lads.
Look, Ben, it's no good. I'm very upset.
I can see that. How are we supposed to review it if we can't even fucking see it?
I think I'm going to have to fly somewhere. I think I'm going to have to fly somewhere to see a film. I think I might have to fly to Norway or something.
Norway will have it. Norway will definitely have it. They're not big on the World Cup, I don't think.
No.
So what's football even anyway? Like
what is it anyway?
Who even watches football?
Nobody.
Nobody. It's a very obscure little sport. So look, Michael, we'll deal with it when we get to it. We'll deal when we get to it.
How, Ben? How will we deal with it?
I don't know.
Have to fly to a country to see a film?
It's dreadful. It's dreadful.
I'm not waiting for Ben. I'm not waiting. I'm not. Sorry, I'm getting very.
No,
I'm not waiting 4 weeks, Ben.
To be fair, it's not a Black Panther.
Well, Ben,
Or
it is a
or
Black
an
Panther.
Infinity War.
It's exactly a Black Panther. Well, it's what we thought Black Panther would be. It's one of the smaller side films.
Yeah, but I mean, Black Panther turned out to be something a little bit more than a smaller side film.
As it turned out, although this is the first Marvel film, Ben, with a female lead.
About time. About fucking time.
So it's another about time moment.
About time moment.
Yeah, but now we have to wait for it to be about time. Maybe it's something to do with repealing the Eighth. Maybe it's punishment from the conservative powers.
The conservative government.
It's the Catholic Church and FIFA. They've teamed up to ruin me seeing this film.
Bloody Kiefer.
I knew it was the Catholic Church and the FIFA. Seb Blatter, presumably.
Seb, his Holiness Seb Blatter.
Yes.
Yeah, bloody. Yeah, just bloody disgrace. Speaking of films that do come out on time, have you seen Solo?
Nah. Look, I think this is the Star Wars film too far for me.
I just don't care.
Look, I saw a Star Wars film. I know, Ben. I'm burdened with an intense amount of self-awareness, but I understand the irony of complaining about having seen a Star Wars film just 6 months ago and now complaining that I don't get to see the next Marvel film. I'm aware of that.
As long as you're aware, there's not a court in the land that would convict you, Michael.
Yeah, look,
not
so
a court in the land
I'm
that would
aware
convict you.
I'm aware of the irony of that situation, but I don't know. It's just another Star Wars film. It seems like only a few weeks ago I was watching The First Jedi.
Yeah, and they're just not that good, Michael.
I don't usually listen to Mark Kermode. Are you familiar with Mark Kermode?
No, I don't. I'm not.
He's a BBC film reviewer.
The name rings a bell.
You'd know him. You'd know him to see again. If you saw his face, you'd know him. He's got. I'll do a quick little Google. Anyway, he said of Solo. He said of Solo, and I'm aware that we are a podcast that sometimes reviews movies, and now I'm just quoting another reviewer.
That's all right.
He said, while it was on, it was perfectly fine.
Oh, well, that's not what you want, is it?
Exactly.
Jesus. Fucking singing a review there. I do know him. I know him well. I know Mark Kermode.
I'll probably go see Solo at some stage, but I'm in no rush.
Yeah,
I'm not flying to Norway
to fucking see it.
To see the bloody thing.
The fuckers. Not Norway. The fuckers who are pushing the date. Norway's lovely.
Seb Blatter and the Catholic Church.
Seb bloody Blatter.
Is it Seb or Seb? I thought it was Seb.
Seb, it is. I think you're right. But I couldn't tell you because I'm not a fan of the ball of foot.
No.
And I'll have enough. I'll have enough, to be honest. That's fine. Bloody Star Wars, bloody saturation point. Yeah, fuck it.
Well, I mean, again, the irony of me saying that while wearing a Black Panther t-shirt, complaining about not seeing Ant-Man and recording a podcast about going to see the movies.
I don't see a correlation.
I'm aware.
I don't see a correlation there, Michael. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you like my Black Panther t-shirt, Ben?
It's very nice, Michael. It's very nice.
Shiny. It's very shiny.
It's very shiny. Shiny.
It's a vibranium weave.
I wasn't sure when I was looking at it. It looks a little bit like a Thundercats logo,
it does, or Transformers,
or a Voltron, or something of that ilk.
Yeah, or Transformers possibly.
Very 80s. Very 80s.
The 80s are back now.
Interesting little bit of Black Panther trivia.
Go on.
Ryan Coogler came out this week and said there was one thing that he was really unhappy about in the film.
Oh.
And that was the killing of Ulysses Claw. He really regretted having to kill that character. And he says having to kill that character, which means that it was possibly a Marvel mandate to remove the character base to reduce some of the expanded universe. But he says he really disliked having to kill off that character. He wanted.
Oh, that's interesting. Ben, I'm only hearing it now from the first time. It doesn't sound like that to me. It sounds like having to as an artistic choice.
Oh, it's maybe that was it. But he says he regrets it quite a bit. And And he said that working with Andy Serkis was great because every day he came in, it seemed like he was having the best day of his life, which is a very nice compliment to give to a performer. But Andy Serkis is an all-round good egg anyway, isn't he? He's just
well, I don't know. We thought Morgan Freeman was an all-round good egg.
Well,
he's one of the bad eggs.
Oh, for feck's sake! Here we go, back into the mire. Hang on, I'll get my big wading boots. Hang on, let's just mosey on into the swamp.
Ben, I admire your commitment to miming the action of putting on the wading boots, although no one's watching other than me.
I did a little. I'm committed, Michael. I'm here for the long haul.
Very good.
Here for the long haul. Anyway, moving on from there.
Yes.
Are you aware of the Expanse, Michael?
The Expanse, what, the distance between us, Ben?
Well, there is quite an expanse. I've written a song about it, and Leona Lewis is going to perform it later on in the show. But also, yes. It's a space opera show, classic. It used to be on the Sci-Fi channel, SYFY, not Sci-Fi.
Sci-Fi, yeah.
Sci-Fi, which is very close to syphilis when you say it that way.
Yeah.
It was cancelled, much to the chagrin of many a viewer, because it's quite popular. And a couple of weeks ago, we discussed how Lucifer and Brooklyn Nine-Nine have received massive fan backing to be renewed.
Yes.
On different networks. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine has been taken back with NBC. Lucifer has been picked up by, I'm not sure who. I'll have to check that. But
go on.
The Expanse has received the same treatment and has been picked up by Amazon Prime.
Amazon,
which is very, very interesting. I think those three things are culturally significant for a bunch of reasons. Because first of all, I am a firm believer in that fan bases should not have a choice in how their content is created.
Very, very interesting. There.
For example, when you and I spoke about Nazi Captain America.
Did we talk about that?
And he received many death threats. Do you recall this? This is a while ago, a couple of episodes ago.
Secret Empire.
And I think that was a really interesting example of when a fan base attacks someone for changing something in a way that they don't like. And we've had this discussion before about how we don't like, or how I don't like, maybe. I can't really remember your thoughts.
Yeah, you don't speak for me.
Yeah, I don't speak for you. But how I don't like when a fan base dictates what you can do. I mean, this kind of issue can be seen across the board in things like Rick and Morty and stuff like that, which has also been renewed to massive appeal, actually.
Yeah, 70 episodes, is that a joke?
It has to be a joke. That's a load of bollocks.
I suspect that's a joke.
Yeah, it has to be. Otherwise, it's just a disgrace. I don't know how you get 70 episodes more out of Rick and Morty.
No, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, Ben.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. That's another 7 seasons.
7 seasons in a movie?
Yeah, but no, it was just interesting that these fan bases are now deciding how a network does things. And interestingly enough, this week, in conjunction with that, the head of one of the major broadcasting networks in America said it's time to do away with the Nielsen rating system.
Oh, very good.
Because apparently it's simply not reflecting how people watch television anymore, which I think is very
Of course not. Yeah, it's a bit mad, isn't it, really?
So it's interesting. And all of the time when America is currently in the death grips of whether or not they're going to repeal net neutrality.
It's back. It's with the net's neutral again, I think.
I think the Democrats banded together and bloody had a go. They were having none of it. They put your man
Newt Gingrich.
No, not Newt Gingrich.
That's the only American politician I know.
That's because it's an amazing name. It sounds like a
Al
bloody
Gore.
J.K. Rowling character. No, Ajit Pai, the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, which is the FCC. They put him on trial, asked him a bunch of questions, and basically pared him down to a bloody pencil. And I think it's back.
Yay!
It's back. It was supposed to be repealed on the I think it was the 10th, and then they organised to have a vote on the 16th, and it's back. So that will affect even more how people watch television and things like that. So
more on Netflix.
It hasn't been confirmed yet. So yeah, it's they're still trying to get it back. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's interesting. It's interesting anyway.
At the same time, Ben, we're having the GDPR here in Europe, which is also affecting the internet in a rather big way.
This is why I'm getting emails from companies saying, please don't break up with us.
Yes,
Weird
exactly.
fucking emails that I keep getting.
From every company, yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah. This is having widespread implications.
Probably some girls as well, Ben.
Yeah, probably. I heard an interesting thing to do with consent of face uploading, which is very interesting, and I'm very curious to see how that will affect photographers.
Yeah, very interesting. Seeing as you are a photographer, Ben. Also, Ben, I think I now need your express written consent to keep your face in the Michael and Benjamin's podcast logo.
I'll DHL it to you as soon as possible.
Sweet, excellent.
Yeah.
Ben, let's talk about another thing.
Go on,
We
anyway.
got a little bit off topic there.
So yeah, Michael, this week you started a brand new segment on our Instagram.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you started a weekly roundup of comic books.
Oh, Ben, maybe it was my assistant.
Oh, it was your... yes, well, we have hired... Terry has been around for a while now. Great kid. Lot of get up and go.
Just one hand.
He mostly polishes action figures. But, I mean, occasionally he does an L Insta. He's a great kid.
Good old Terry the intern.
Terry the intern, Tintern, big fan of him over here at Michael and Benjamin's podcast. Shout out to Terry, well done, lad. So he started a bloody weekly roundup. I think he just likes going through your stuff, to be honest, and taking pictures.
Yeah,
of
he
it.
does. No, Ben, I just came back. I came into the house. I said, "Here's the comics I bought this week, Terry." I threw them at him, and he started reading. And I said, "Not for you, for the internet."
And then you sprayed him with the hose again.
And I sprayed him with the hose, and he said, "Yes, master. Put them on the internet."
But one of the ones that really caught my eye here, Michael, was the Sherlock Frankenstein cover, because it's bloody great.
Oh, very good.
It's bloody great.
Yeah, it's a very nice cover, isn't it?
I love a bit of Dave Rubens.
Sorry, I dropped my phone.
I love Dave Rubens' art. I think it's really graphic. I think it's really animated, and I think it's almost, for me, perfect comic book art. It's right up there with Becky Cloonan on Saga. I think it does everything you need to do. It's not overly exaggerated. It's not.
Hold on, Ben. Hold on a second. You keep talking. I'm just going to make some noise while I go get. I'm going to go get Frankenstein so I can have a look.
That's all right. But I think he has a really nice kind of semi-animated, semi-realistic style. I think it suits comic books almost perfectly. He's also great at the L colours. They're very vivid.
Mad for colours. Ben, as I said on Instagram, I was a bit late to the Black Hammer party. For some reason, I thought it wasn't a superhero thing. And that wouldn't put me off. Oh, there it is. That wouldn't put me off reading something, obviously. What a cover, though.
It's great, isn't it? Is
spectacular.
Is that the trade paperback?
That's the trade paperback, Ben.
Strongly
recommended. I got it from our friends at Dublin City Comics and Collectibles. Not sponsored content. Not sponsored content.
I think I will be picking up the whole collection when I get
a nice hardback. Yeah, very good.
Because I went on having read that and enjoyed it thoroughly, because it's very well written and very interesting. Mm-hmm. Having enjoyed that thoroughly, I love Jeff Lemire, by the way. Black Hammer is the brainchild of Jeff Lemire, by the way.
Yes. And it's another one of those. Sorry to cut across you. It's another one of those things, a little bit like the Invincible.
Oh, the Invincible.
It's another one where a creator has had a slightly derivative idea.
It is slightly derivative.
Invincible is basically Superboy.
Oh, I never looked at it that way. Good man.
Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah, Superboy. If he knew his dad, and his dad turned out to be a bit of a bad egg.
Bad egg.
And the Black Hammer is basically, it's a lot like a Kingdom Come or any sort of deconstruct, even Watchmen in a sense, but any sort of deconstruction of the superhero teams of old. But where I'm going with this is that they're both strong enough series that not only do they kind of expand beyond that initial idea, they've both spawned spin-offs, lots and lots of spin-offs, and created their own little universe.
Yeah, no, I mean it's interesting because I mean we've had our Watchmens, we've had our bloody When My Brain Works. Hang on, I can't remember. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called. Bloody Mark Miller.
The Ultimates?
No, not an Ultimates. It's not a deconstruction. It's the bloody superheroes band together to win. Why can't I remember this?
Don't know, because I don't know what you're talking about.
There was that bloody terrible movie with James McAvoy and Angelina Jolie based on it.
Wanted.
There we go. Thank you. I mean, we've done these deconstruction things a million times in a million different ways. And to be fair, I read the first 6 issues of Black Hammer, and then I kind of forgot about it because I didn't really give them a fair read, I don't think. But where I think Jeff Lemire is doing a better job is it's just a very interesting kind of twisted premise, I suppose.
It's a great little premise.
It's a wonderful
the whole
little
idea of
American Gothic thing.
Yeah, it's great. But then Sherlock Frankenstein doesn't have much to do with that. Obviously,
because that's still in the superhero world.
Exactly, but it's excellent. It's just really very good.
I think what definitively one of the things that kind of grinds my gears about the Watchmen, if I can say that, having been very late to the Watchmen party, having not been born when it first came out.
You weren't alive.
I wasn't even alive. It's very gritty. In that 80s style, very noir, and I love an L noir. But you get very tired of the "oh God, I'm an alcoholic. I used to be a hero." And where I think Black Hammer kind of surpasses that is it's far more just regular issues starting to bother these people, and it's not as grim and gritty. You have your classic alcoholic characters and whatever. Yeah. But it's just not as grimy or something. There's something far more human about the way that Lemire and Dean Ormston does the art for that one. And Dean Ormston is very like a Kelly Jones in that his art is very elongated and dark and gothic. It's very like Jay Lee. You know Jay Lee?
Yes, yeah.
So it's very similar in all those styles, but with a very American Gothic kind of twist. I dig it big time.
Especially when he's doing Barbalian.
Barbalian is great.
Very Jay Lee.
I also like the way he's combined DC and Marvel together. I think that makes it even better because you have. Do you want to go through them? Is there a point?
Yeah, well, we might as well. Look at you. We've got another 5 minutes. What I really liked was what's his name, Abraham Slam.
Abraham Slam is great because he's just
Abraham Slam's origin story is fantastic. He tries to join the military, and he's too small and too skinny. And then a doctor approaches him and says, "I can help you." And you think he's going to inject him with a super soldier serum like Captain America. And then it just shows 3 pages of him working out and learning to fight. It's great.
And that's the end of it. Yeah, it's just it's very like he's far more like Wildcat from the JSA. I think than that. Black Hammer is exceptionally interesting in that it's a combination of Jack Kirby's Fourth World and Bloody Thor. Like it's a nice slap together of those two. The one that fascinates me more than anything is the bloody Dragonfly lady, Madam Dragonfly, because she combines a lot of the DC extended. The cabin is very much your House of Mystery, House of Silence, or House of Whispers
thing as well.
Yeah, there's a touch of swamp. There's a big swamp thing. Like that's very much DC's occult end of things.
There's very little Marvel in her.
Yeah, no, there's almost none. And then we have our bloody Barbalian, who's just the Martian Manhunter by any other name. And you've got your Shazam. You've got your Shazam in Golden Girl. And then the one I really liked was a character that you don't hear much from anymore in DC, which is Adam Strange. That's who the Colonel Weird is.
Colonel Weird, he's
a kind of Adam Strange throwback to that wonderful 60s genre of just obscure interdimensional travel. But I dig it big time. I've even gone so far as to read the second volume now. I'm halfway through the second volume. Well, no, I'm completely caught up in the second volume. Age of Doom. Have you read that?
No, I actually haven't read Age of Doom. I'm waiting for that to be collected.
Anyway, they expand the universe a little bit more.
I'm very excited.
And it gets very. There's a Dead Man pastiche in there.
Oh, very good. That's right on our wheelhouse.
Yeah, right in our wheelhouse. Go check out that episode there down below, ladies and gentlemen. Plug. Anyway, it got me thinking because Jeff Lemire often goes off and does these little obscure projects. And this combined with the recent kind of fan input again into how they want to consume content and stuff like that got me thinking, Michael. I'm a big fan of the internet over here, Michael.
Yes, you are.
I love the old internet, and I'm more fascinated with how the internet is kind of helping or allowing creators to come up with new forms of fiction that are not really restricted by the gatekeepers of old media. So if you want to go
gatekeepers of old media. Is it? You mean the cocaine fueled lunatics of Hollywood?
Ad execs who think they understand people. I think we're living in an interesting time. You wearing your Black Panther T-shirt. I think we're living in an interesting time where more than ever, I think TV executives and film executives are just being shown how completely out of touch with the world they actually are,
or can be,
and I think that's really,
all of them.
It's not all of them, no, absolutely not. But I think it's interesting with people pitching that we get rid of the Nielsen system, etc.,
get rid of it,
etc. Well, I mean that's very interesting for us, Michael, because as Europeans we don't have any effect on the Nielsen rating system, and so we're very much at the mercy of a foreign audience that doesn't get us.
And as someone who, let's imagine that someone, neither of us obviously, but some people probably. Most of what they watch is pirated material.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the way distribution works, and
especially in Ireland,
really take into effect. And I mean, remember we had to fly over to the USA to download the Hulu app to be able to watch Runaways.
That got bloody expensive.
That was very expensive.
I mean, that more than anything is why I'm living in a bin. That's the main reason that I live in a skip.
And your Oscar the Grouch-esque demeanor.
I only have a microphone to my name. I'm doing this on my phone. It's interesting. But it I look at networks like Adult Swim.
Yes,
and they were very much like not a vanguard, but a precursor to this kind of idea of just letting a creator run with an idea. And comic books have been doing that much longer than television has. And Jeff Lemire is a good example of that. Jeff Lemire kind of goes off and writes these things, but you can find these all over the place. You have your Jason Aarons, you have your Jeff Lemire's,
Robert Kirkman,
your Kirkmans, and they get to go off and do the little series. And now. Platforms like YouTube are allowing a new form of that. Michael, you're a recovered scientist.
I am a recovered scientist. I've been clean for 10 years.
Absolutely.
More, actually.
You're doing very well. You rarely fall off the bandwagon. I'm very, very proud of you.
Look, I licked a petri dish last week.
Oh, Michael.
Nothing to do with science.
I know. You just felt like, I know, buddy. But what I wanted to draw your attention to as a recovered scientist, have you heard of super science, friends?
Well, Ben, is this a real question or is this a...
No, this is a false question because we know that...
Oh, well then no, Ben, what is it?
Super Science Friends is a great little... Well done, Michael, I'm so proud of you. Is a great little mini show that's kind of interesting. It's animated.
Yes.
And it's created by a guy called I can't find his second name.
John
Brett
Terry the Intern.
I'm not going to find it at all. Damn it! This is going to be very irritating. He doesn't have his name up anywhere. Tosser. I'm looking here like crazy. But anyway, it's Canadian. It is set in it's on YouTube. It's not going anywhere else. And it's bizarrely wonderful. In what it is. It's a series that features around a bunch of scientists from different time eras, and they've been brought together by Winston Churchill to travel to time and fight Nazis.
Among other things.
So, among other things, but predominantly Nazis, occasionally the Catholic Church. And
Russians.
And Thomas Edison. But the super team consists of Charles Darwin, whose superpower is shape-shifting into any animal. Marie Curie, whose superpower is being exceptionally radioactive. Nikola Tesla, who uses a series
He's a master of electricity.
Your Sigmund Freud, who has psychological powers, obviously.
Only related to sex, though.
Only related to sex, yes. And then I can't remember the name of the other woman.
Tabuti.
I'm not sure who that's based on. I wouldn't know who that was based on, but she's a great character. She's a cave woman chemist, alchemist.
Well, then I can tell you if you want.
Go on, please. That would be fantastic.
Tabuti was from, I don't know where Sumatra. Anyway,
okay.
Recorded on tablets as a perfume maker and the first, the kind of history's first chemist.
Michael, that's fascinating.
I don't know if it is Sumatra. That's anyway, somewhere really old.
That's still bloody fascinating.
Very good.
That's really cool. Thank you for filling that in. I had no idea. But yeah, it's this great series, and then of course Teenage Einstein, who has super speed. and is
because
amazing.
he understands that time is relative.
He understands that time is relative, and that lets him just skip those rules. It's this amazing series. It is it's animated by a woman called Katie Jones. She's the lead character designer and animator on Super Science Friends, and she has this really nice, clean animation style. The episodes are getting longer and longer each time they come up, which is really nice.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the first one was only 5 or 6 minutes, and then the last one was
24
minutes.
25. Yeah, but I mean, the Patreon's doing okay. It's $660 a month, which is a decent budget for a completely fan-created kind of show. But it's interesting. I think it's very good, personally.
Babylonian Mesopotamia.
There you go.
I did an internet search.
I think it's very good. I don't know what you think of it. Did you watch much of it?
Ben, I watched, like we were talking about before the podcast this week, by posting Insta about Black Hammer, I gave you the gift of Black Hammer because you went back and rewatched it and you had an enjoyment. This week you gave me the gift of Super Science Friends.
Yeah, it was very good. I think it's very good. It features around them, and it's just a great series. It's just beautifully animated. The voice acting is great. It's really obscure and very niche, but it's very much in that anarchic style of original Adult Swim content, and not caring about a single rule. Spoilers for the first episode.
Yes.
They travel back in time to save Isaac Newton, and
yes.
Albert Einstein is completely in awe of Isaac Newton. But the episode ends with him exploding his brain with a high-speed apple,
accidentally killing him. It's very humorous.
So that should give you a rough idea of the tone of the show.
Ben, when I was watching it, there were. Look? This might be a bit controversial.
Yeah,
I really did like it, but I didn't love it. It didn't rock my world.
Okay.
It's very good. It's very enjoyable, but it's not something I'll be the first to hop on every time there's a new episode. I'll definitely watch every new episode, but I actually preferred the other thing you recommended. I enjoyed that even more, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay.
I can see you about to say it. Don't say it yet.
No, okay. I was about to say it, but we'll hold off on that. But I mean,
hold on. Where was I going? I was going somewhere.
It wasn't your favorite thing.
No. Oh no. I could see influences seeping through it.
Oh yeah.
I know it's been around for a while, but it very much reminds me of something we talk about fairly often on the podcast, which was Gravity Falls.
Yes, it's very Gravity Fallsy.
There's a lot of Gravity Falls to it, but a little bit more adult. They get the occasional swear word in there as well.
Oh, they do.
People's
big
heads
time.
explode. Yeah. But altogether, very enjoyable. They do a thing which I really like, which is a pop-up video version of every episode. Have you watched that?
No, I haven't.
They do. The actual creators do it. A few months seemingly after the episode has aired, they'll air it again, but with little information boxes that pop up explaining what everything is and why.
Oh, that's very cool.
How it's very good. Now you have to see the episode first, or else it just ruins it. But it's very enjoyable.
That's very good.
My favorite one was the episode where Edison steals Tesla's patent.
Yes.
So Tesla's having this. He's retelling the story, and his machine breaks down, and he says, "I'll just consult my patent to see how to fix it." And the pop-up box pops up and says, "Obviously, in real life, you would consult a schematic, not a patent, but we needed to find a way to get a patent into this scene for Edison to steal." It's like, yes, that is exactly the sort of pedantry that I want in a web series. I love that that's the creative process that went on behind the scene of that scene.
Absolutely. Well, I think we live in this wonderful age of kind of very meta creation, in that people that do this kind of thing are generally very clever. I would imagine the guy that created this series, Brett something or other. Brett something or other. I will fix that and put it in the video. I would imagine he's quite a clever man. Him and his writing team seem to be very good at little in-jokes and niche throwaways. And I think, interestingly enough, that you touched on the pop video, I think that platforms like YouTube give you a brand new way of sharing your content with your fan base. And it's doing quite well.
Although not bloody amazingly.
No, for a semi-regular...
less than 1 million views.
Yeah, for a semi-regular thing, there's only 82,000 subscribed. But we will definitively include a link down below this time and we'll have to try and push that around.
Yeah, get them we'll probably be able to get them 6 or 7 more subscribers.
2.
Sure, they'll appreciate it.
You're
a friend of mine, Ben. A friend of mine has a video where he rescues a fox.
Yes,
and that's got 2 million views.
Oh,
so it's interesting that something which so much love. I'm not saying that the rescuing a fox video isn't interesting. Of course it is, but it's something which has received so much love and effort and originality and energy and time.
And it's not being rewarded
it doesn't feed the YouTube algorithm as much as a lunatic screaming while playing a video game.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it?
It is in a way a shame.
That's the I suppose the dark side of this new age of creator content is that a lack of taste seems to be no barrier.
Now Ben, now come on now.
No, in terms of creative.
Don't be an old man.
Okay,
Ben.
no, I don't mean it like that. What I mean is the creative process behind certain forms of content seems to be a little lacking.
Well, like a friend of mine said, he was shocked the other week to come home from work and find his tween daughter watching her favorite YouTuber going through the contents of his fridge.
I mean, there you go. And
that video had millions of views.
I'm not besmirching. Fridge reviews. But I'm saying there's a little discrepancy between the amount of effort put into something like Super Science Friends and going through the shite in your fridge.
My fridge is mostly empty, Ben. Maybe we should do an episode on that.
I've just got women in my fridges.
Oh, very good. Very meta-referential. I really enjoyed that.
Boom. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting dark side to it. But that's not the only thing I shared with you this week, Michael. The good people over at Super Science Friends. The nice thing about this culture of non-contracted creatives is that they help each other. And one of the major collaborations that these guys do is with another YouTuber called Lord Bung, which is a terrible name, Bung, B-U-N-G, which is a terrible name for someone. But he creates a series as well. Lord Bung creates a series called Confinement. Is it Confinement? Oh, goodness, that's very embarrassing. Confinement. And he's very interesting. He, again, is another independent animator. Again, very much in the style, I suppose, of Adult Swim or something like that. He's a lesser-known creative, and he comes along and does stuff like that. Anyway, Confinement centers around a very interesting character. And we don't really get a lot of information in the first episode. The first episode is called The Cannibal, and it just features a very normal American guy in an orange jumpsuit, and he goes in and he talks to this huge, hulking...
I think he's Canadian.
Ogre. Oh, is he Canadian? Is this another Canadian? Yeah. Hang on, let's find out.
I think he is.
No, there's not much about him in his About section. It just said storyboard animations or something.
He's at least a quarter Inuit, so he's probably Canadian.
Oh, he's a quarter Inuit. Yes, he probably is. I forgot about that. Anyway,
sorry, Ben. I'm being a bit of a
that's all right. Today. I don't mind you being a pedant, Michael. If it makes you happy, you pedant away. He is doing much better in the Patreon sphere. So Super Science Friends is receiving about $660 a month. He receives a whopping $1,600 a month.
Oh wow!
For his content.
Still though, Ben, that's probably just about enough for a person to live on.
That's more than enough for a person to live on, I would have thought.
Just about enough for a person to live on, but not. I suppose that's probably enough.
But I mean, you do that by the full year. That's $1,200 minimum, and then you add up all your little 600. So 600 by 12. I don't do maths, Michael. Give me a hand there.
I don't even know what you're getting at.
No, just in terms of breaking down how much did it cost him to live, depending on his rent or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that's all right.
Maybe he lives with his parents. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's enough for it's probably about as much as an office worker makes in Canada.
Absolutely, but he's happy and he gets to create content that he really, really likes. Do you know what I mean? So that's the big difference there, is that he gets to enjoy that. He gets to enjoy doing what he does.
Now this series, Ben, of the two that you recommended to me, I really like this one.
So you really like this one? Okay, I figured you might prefer this one a little bit more, actually. I was hoping Super Science Friends might pique your fancy or tickle your interest, but I kind of
did,
figured...
Ben. I've now subscribed to it and I'll watch every episode, but it might have been, in fact, that you sent both of them to me and I just enjoyed this one so much more that it made Super Science Friends seem a little bit paler in comparison.
Well,
but
will you tell me what you liked about it, Michael, please?
Ben, it's very good. I think... overall, the production quality is lower than Super Science Friends.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
It's simpler animation.
Yeah. It's getting better every episode, though.
That's true. The guest voices aren't always up to the same quality as the...
Absolutely not.
As the main cast.
Absolutely not.
Even the audio quality sometimes goes up and down as well, which, as people who make content, we know what that struggle is bloody like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you mean? We've never had.
Sometimes you forget to turn your mic on, Ben. Remember those 2 episodes where you didn't turn your mic on?
I haven't actually checked to see if I have my mic on today. No, I do. Oh, thank God, that would have been so awkward. I do. It's fine.
No. So what I really like about it is, in fact, I'm going to throw this back over to you to explain it. But I really like the SCP aspect of this series.
So this is fascinating. Go on, keep going anyway.
Well, no, that's what I like about it. I like the kind of little mystery of the week, how they're almost left entirely unsolved.
They're great.
Yeah.
It's
they're,
go on. It's a horror sci-fi hybrid, and it's just great. So just to give a little more premise to what this series is actually about, the main character, possibly half Canadian, possibly full Canadian, is immortal. And every time he dies, his old body is left to rot, deteriorate, and do whatever, and a new body just pops up in its place.
Yes, very good.
It's very clean, and it makes for some great comedic moments. It's really nice that he doesn't regenerate, so you don't have to do any of that. He can just leave his body if he dies once and keep going. Do you know what I mean? His body just comes back. And later on, that kind of limitation is explored a lot more. It's very interesting. But he basically is a test subject for this shadowy government organization. And what that is the SCP. SCP stands for Secure, Contain, and Protect. And basically, it's just, like you said, mystery of the week. They're strange creatures that get different classifications and whatever. And when I watched this, I was like, how is this guy so creative? How is this guy so...
Where is he coming up with these ideas?
And then I realized it's not just him, Michael, because he is borrowing from an even bigger collective called the SCP Foundation. The SCP Foundation is a wiki page.
I like a wiki, Ben.
Have you checked out the wiki page?
Ben, I was very grateful to you, and I've heard of the SCP before, in fact, and I was aware of it, but I'm grateful and annoyed at you because I basically wasted my whole weekend reading
no way.
SCP entries, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, but complete waste of time.
Some of it's great, but so the SCP is basically a kind of collective fiction collaboration project.
Yes, Ben, do us a favour for a second. Would you talk about the creative aspect of it, and then I'll say a couple of things about the actual
absolutely, because
monsters and stuff.
You're way more of an expert in that. So basically, what it is the SCP is Secure, Contain, and Protect, and they're like, I suppose, dossiers or breakdowns of case files, and they're written in a very kind of formal
scientific action report.
Kind of like that. So I'm going to read a little bit from the page here because it's quite interesting.
Okay.
The SCP Wiki is a collaborative urban fantasy writing website about the fictional SCP Foundation. What I think is really important about this is that they really stress that this is fiction.
Yeah. And you read their FAQs.
Yeah, their FAQ, they are very much against anyone going on about it as if it's a real thing. And they don't want your paranormal stories. They don't want any of that crap. What they want is fiction. And I think that's what really draws me to this SCP collaboration project. When you read, there are other examples of this on the internet. This is by no means the first example of something like this.
There's creepypasta.
There's paranormal stories and things like that. They're on Reddit. The problem I have with those is there are some people on there that claim that these are real things or things that actually happen to them, etc., etc., etc. I don't
have a problem with that, Ben. I think that's a form of storytelling.
For me, it just doesn't sit well with me personally, I suppose, more than that. But for me, I love
Yes.
this because it's pure fiction, and they really, really want to push that. So there
And
are
it's quality as well. They're really passionate about quality.
yeah, they're every entry is renewed or reviewed and kind of kept to a very rigorous standard. They have a whole writing guide on how you have to write these things, and then they have, it's just great. I just really enjoy it. One of the great things is the mission statement. So the mission statement on the website is: operating clandestine and worldwide, the Foundation operates beyond jurisdiction, empowered and entrusted by every major national government with the task of containing anomalous objects, entities, or phenomena. These anomalies pose a significant threat to global security by threatening either physical or psychological harm. And there's even more information. Physical or psychological harm. These objects or these anomalies or these phenomenon, they're so varied. Anomaly. But I mean, they're amazing. Like this kind of fiction, you have cursed objects, you have weird gateways to other dimensions. Like there's cosmic horror elements, there's classic horror elements. It's just great. Like it's just such a varied thing. And they do them in series. So they have series 1, which is 1 to 9.
4,000 of
there
them.
There are 4,000 of them at this point, but each one has been reviewed, and I think that's fascinating. So when you look at these, you have different things. You have object classes. So they have 3 object classes. Well, no, they don't have 3 object classes, but they have it's 5 different classes for how dangerous an SCP is. They're referred to as SCP-102 or SCP whatever. They have a number and a thing. So, safe class are anomalies that are safely contained. So they've been locked down and there's no problem. Then you have Euclid or Euclid. I don't know how to pronounce it. Euclid, thank you. What does that mean?
Euclidean.
Which
non-Euclidean. It's a geometry thing. It's about whether things make sense in regards to real physics.
Okay, cool. So that actually fits with the description. Euclid classes of SCP are anomalies that require more resources to contain completely, or where containment isn't always reliable. So your teleporters or your quantum beings. I suppose Mark, the main character of this series, would probably fall under something like that. He's not particularly dangerous.
Yeah. He doesn't make sense.
But he's quite hard to contain, and they can't figure out what makes him tick. Then you have Keter, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exceedingly difficult to contain, consistently or reliably, with containment procedures often being extensive and complex. So I think a good example of that might be the strange tape from the second episode. That causes
that was a very good episode.
That was very Annihilation-esque to me,
wasn't it?
Where an object kind of influences its environment in a big way. Just go look at these episodes; they're great.
Well, Ben, it's interesting that you say that, because Annihilation very much could be a realistic take on an SCP type episode.
Absolutely. Like I really enjoy them. So moving on from there, you have your 4th class, which is Thaumiel. Anomalies that the Foundation uses to contain or counteract other SCPs. So again, Mark would probably fall into this classification as well, as he's often used to talk or communicate with entities that other people can't because they keep dying.
Because he's immortal.
Because he's immortal, and he
very
doesn't
good
die.
conceit for a series as well.
I mean, he's great. He works really, really well. You have all the danger of these things, and you have a character that can keep coming back for more. And then you have neutralized. So these are SCPs that have been destroyed or disabled in some form.
Benjamin, my favorite one was the paddling pool. Have you read the paddling pool? I don't know.
No,
I can't remember the number. It's the paddling pool that sends people to all the places. It's a child's paddling pool, but it's indestructible, and it has a liquid in it that glows, and it changes color when it glows. And if someone steps on it when it's glowing, with less than 34.7 kilograms of stuff with them, it teleports them to one of 12 places on a continuous cycle. Okay. And 4 of the places are in space. They're out at the moon. Okay. And the other places are fairly useless places. Like, one is in the ocean, one is above the Gobi Desert. Wow. So there's kind of no point to it.
Amazing.
But they've built facilities at the points which are on Earth, which could be used for emergency evacuation.
Wow.
But you have to send a person to each point to get it to move on to the next one. So let's say you had 4 valuable scientists you wanted to evacuate. You would have to send the scientists to the Gobi Desert, send some loser into space to die,
Oh, God.
send the next scientist to the Sahara, send some other loser into space to die.
Man.
And the cool thing was the little footnote at the end of it was discovered in California after reports of missing children. So, I mean, some of these children got sent to the Gobi Desert, and some of them are just tiny little bodies floating in space between Earth and the Moon.
But I mean, it's fascinating. I'm like, it really is like a spiritual successor almost to something like the Twilight Zone. It's fantastic, and it spawned. Like I said, Confinement is not the only. Confinement is not the only series that has been based on this. There's another YouTube channel called the Volgin.
Right.
And he does little videos, not unlike what we do with our podcast, Michael, but he reads different entries as kind of a recording, like a government style recording, and he has sound effects for tapes and things like that, and audio footage of the different things interacting, audio recovered from the scene. They're great, and they have fan art and things like that. That go with the video. So very much what we do with our videos, where we give relevant information to different things. But he has a logo created that moves, a motion graphic for the SCP Foundation.
Very good.
It's great.
The Volgin, is it?
The Volgin. I'll send it on to you after this.
Did you read the one about the spooky face that floats at the bottom of all the stairs?
No.
I don't know. Again, I don't know what the number is, but it's about a spooky face. And it's basically an infinitely descending stairway.
Oh, excellent.
And as you're going down, you can hear the sound of a child screaming for help, and it sounds about 200 meters below you. But as you descend, it seems to be descending with you, and it just keeps on going and going and going and going. And then eventually you just see a spooky face floating in front of you, and you go, "Oh, there's a spooky face!" And then you try and run away, and then that's it. That's the spooky face.
That's the end. This is right up your street. I feel like you've wasted your entire life looking at this website.
Ben, do you remember? I know I might have mentioned this TV show before, but do you remember Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes, bloody Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I know. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started quite like this, because if you remember, one of the big problems with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was that its main conceit couldn't happen until halfway through season 1,
right? And
because it was about Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D., so they had to tread water for the first 12 episodes until they got to when Civil War was released, and they could reveal that one of their team was a Hydra traitor. And they treaded water by these concepts called 084s.
Okay, these are...
And 084s or 084s were unexplained, anomalous things that they had to find and contain.
Ah.
One of them was Sky, who turned out to be Daisy Johnson, who turned out to be Quake.
Okay.
Another one was an Asgardian staff that made people who find it go a bit bonkers and gave them super strength.
Classic.
Another one was a Kree laser and stuff like that. Another one was one of the Chitauri helmets that had a mind virus in it. But it had this concept, and I think I was the only person who liked that part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, right. Everyone else was kind of like, eh.
It wasn't as good as SCP, Ben. And I think it wasn't as good as SCP because it was written by a writer's room.
Yeah.
Not people who were inspired to really want to write about that kind of thing on the internet.
Like, I think it's the amount of passion that goes into some of those entries is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's proper writing, and the quality is very high. And I think it's great. I'm such a huge fan of it as a thing. I'm really glad you enjoyed it, actually.
Ben, I did. This is my favourite recommendation you've ever given on the podcast.
Excellent. It's
one of those things, like I said, I was always kind of slightly aware of it, but I never got into it.
Yeah, I never got into it, and now you just have that little push.
Yeah. Very
no, it's very good. I'm a big fan of it, personally, and I think the Super Science Friends are great as well. But more than that, I think it's a great example of because we have that, again, another dark side to it. We have crap like Tumblr. where
Ben taking a shot at the whole of Tumblr,
where people post their weird slash fiction or whatever, and communities feel
what's wrong with slash fiction, Ben?
Yeah, there's a couple of things wrong with slash fiction.
You obviously haven't read any of the Michael and Ben slash fiction.
Nah, I have. I wrote it.
Very good.
Why do you think I'm always the top? Yeah.
Come on, Ben.
I think that's one of the darker elements of it, and I think this shows that the internet can produce really fantastic kind of solid content, and I really like it. So, ladies and gentlemen.
No, hold on, Ben.
Oh, wait, okay.
Now, I know you were kind of saying you kind of somewhat smeared creepypasta.
I didn't mean to smear it. I'm just saying the quality is not as high.
No, because it's not as well maintained and it's not as rigorous. But Ben, I'm going to give you a little recommendation. It's a tiny short story.
Go on.
On creepypasta called Candle Cove.
Candle Cove. Okay.
Yes. I really, really, really like it.
Okay.
Also, have you ever heard of the adventures of... is it the adventures of Huckleberry Finn or the adventures of Mark Twain?
The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
With the really creepy... No, not the book. The really creepy video, kids claymation video.
Oh yeah, it's Mark Twain. Mark Twain.
Where they meet Satan.
Yeah, that was so weird.
That kind of vibe always reminds me of FCP. That kind of, what is this thing?
Yeah,
make it go away.
Yeah, make it stop. Please stop. Yeah, I get that feeling from a lot of the SCP stuff as well. Anyway, Michael.
Yes, Ben.
To round it up, because we're out of time.
We're going to wrap it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take a look at all the things that we've recommended today. We can't recommend them highly enough. Get your little Super Science friends going. If the creators of Super Science Friends want to give us a shout, go on. Do please. SCP, check out your SCPs and tell us what your favourite is down below in the comments, please. We would love to hear what you think of them. Shout out to the wonderful Lord Bung and his miniseries Confinement. And a big shout out to Volgin as well, who does really nice audio kind of content on YouTube based
also,
off
Ben,
SCP.
Tell the people to get onto their local comic book retailer and get on that Black Hammer.
Yeah, get on that good Black Hammer shit. It's great. Have a little read. It's weird, it's twisted, it's strange, and it's wonderful. So anyway, that's all from us. Give us an like, share, and subscribe down below. Let us know what you thought of this week's pod. And do subscribe.
Ben, tell the people to follow us on Insta so they can see our weekly comic book.
There is also gram of an instant quality. Go check that out. Please give us a shout. We're also on Facebook, although I think Facebook's a dead medium at this point. I'm not sure. But let us know over on just get in touch. We're lonely. I live in a tiny apartment in Florence. Get in touch. I want to hear from you. Okay, everybody. Bye.
Bye.